to the
Good
April
evening.
11th Commission on Disabilities meeting. If we could all state the Pledge of Allegiance. I have the trusty little flag here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and
Justice for all.
Vice Chair Perno, if you could do a roll call of the members.
Certainly. So Ralph DeChico,
Present.
Pauline Perno is present. Mario Gramanis,
Present.
Asma Alfuda,
Present.
Jason Barone.
He
Jason's
said
gonna be
he's going to attend.
he's absent.
Absent. Okay. Thank you. Robert Brown.
Present.
Good evening, Robert. Ellie Vargas.
I was trying to get in touch with her, but she's not on as of now.
Okay. And Sophia Marmuda.
No, and I didn't hear from her if she was going to be on.
Okay. All right.
Let's see. Did we lose anyone or do we gain anyone? Here's Jason. Hi, Jason. So Jason is here. Okay, so Jason is present. Hope you're feeling
Great.
better, my friend. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is motion to approve the meeting from the March 14th meeting. I sent out the meeting minutes to everyone. So if there was any changes or if I was missing anything, please let me know and I can adjust it. If not, if someone can make a motion to approve and then a second.
A motion to approve.
Second.
And ask me a second. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
The next thing that I wanted just to mention to everyone, a lot of people are well aware of it, but I just wanted to state it that April is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month. I'm not sure if a lot of people saw it in the paper. They have the big autism sign in front of City Hall that some some city officials and special guests stood in front of last week. So that was great that was out there again for the second year. So it's a great time for autism awareness and
Yes. Thank you.
So I just wanted to make that known to everyone. Item number 2, we have our monthly guest speaker. We're thankful that the Revere Police Chief, David Callahan, has taken out the time. He's going to join us to speak about CIT training that is done in the department. There's been a lot of conversations about de-escalation processes and what cities and towns do for it. Chief Callahan is going to bring us some information about what the Revere Police Department is doing on it. And I'll turn it over to you, Chief.
Thank you very much, Ralph. And it's a pleasure being here with you folks this evening, and a lot of familiar faces. And I just want to give you guys a little bit of insight on some of the training that we do here at the police department. And we kind of got involved with this CIT training, which is basically a crisis intervention team, a crisis intervention training that teaches the police de-escalation techniques and how to deal with different types of persons that may be in crisis. It started a little while back, and it started probably 15 years ago over in the city of Somerville after they had an issue where the police, need to learn more and be trained better. Then it turned into a thing where it kind of grew and grew and grew. And with the program now, the Revere Police Department's been involved for probably 6 or 7 years with it. We have probably 85% of the police department trained, where it's a 5-day, 40-hour course. And it's excellent. I went to it a few years ago, and I learned a lot of things. And they focused on some different types of mental health issues and people with handicaps, autistic children, people with autism, and different trigger points and things maybe not to do or to say or to startle them, because, sometimes they're very hypersensitive. But I can give you a little more information basically on the program. And the CIT, the Crisis Intervention Team program, is a community partnership between law enforcement, mental health professionals, addiction specialists, and those impacted by behavioral health concerns such as mental illness, developmental disabilities, and addiction. The program utilizes a group approach to identify appropriate resources for those in crisis. So we know how to deal with some of these problems and be able to navigate them better. And the program seeks to direct those impacted by mental illness away from the criminal justice system, so away from the courts. Because sometimes people with mental illness, they can't, what they're doing, they sometimes can't help. And they probably need a better approach from the police, because some of their issues are not court issues that go to court. And, a lot of it is they need like healthcare treatment or some type of medical treatment, like I said, and not to go to court. And the program's supported by a lot of statistics that communities that participate or police departments that participate in the CIT program, we can see a dramatic decrease in some of these incidents that in the past would get escalated because the police just didn't know how to handle them or how to approach them. And with first responders, we benefit dramatically. And, we're better able to cope with these problems. And, officers' injuries have dramatically decreased, as well as injuries towards the persons that we're trying to help. So we're learning how to de-escalate things, not get things a little more excited, and kind of slow it down, and how to take care of the problem in a different manner than in years past. And we can see it's almost like 60% of these calls now don't go to court like they probably would have a decade or more ago, or 15, 20 years ago, because we just didn't know how to handle with them. Handle those problems, and they ended up going to court when it's not really a court problem. It's a health problem. They need to go to a healthcare facility. They need to be treated at the hospital and stuff like that. So it just makes it safer for everybody in the community, for those folks, for the police officers, and for the general public. So it's a very beneficial program. And as I'm talking about it, we have several officers that are in training right now that this week they're currently attending the training, and it's up in Andover. And all we hear is positive responses on the de-escalation training that we've done that's connected with the CIT training, but also just in general with a lot of the different police reform. A lot of things are focusing on de-escalation. But I want to credit us here in Revere. We've been kind of forward thinking, and we forecasted some of these issues, and we've trained ourselves better. And with support from the city, City Hall, the mayor, he's given us a lot more funding for training. And that's where we see a lot of these gaps and some of these problems that kind of escalate and get out of control because the police officers aren't trained well enough. We're changing that now. And like I said, we're ahead of the curve. We do a great job training the officers here. We don't have some problems that other communities may have. And just the training itself has been huge for that. And I mean, I don't want to really go on and on and on, but if you folks have any specific questions, I'd gladly like to answer them. I'll try to, but I can add one thing with like the CIT training. We had a lot of different instructors from different backgrounds that ordinarily wouldn't train police officers. We had doctors and physicians from the emergency room to kind of explain, how to deal with people in crisis and what usually happens when we section someone because they're a threat to themselves or a threat to someone else to harm themselves. And they kind of, explain the process and what exactly happens, which I thought I had a good grasp on it, which I did, but I learned some stuff from talking to the emergency room physician, and they gave us the opportunity to talk to those folks. And then we had some other mental health care people come and speak. We had one gentleman who was a retired police officer that has a child that has autism. So he was able to share a lot of stories with us and what to do when you encounter someone who has autism. And like I said in the beginning of the conversation, how not to trigger them and how to keep things calm and how the best way to communicate with them. And I learned different things. And one thing that stays in my mind is how sometimes they don't have the sensitivity to cold. And sometimes you may see them outside and they may not have a lot of clothing on. And I mean, they're in trouble when that happens, especially when you have some of the brutally cold weather. And now it made you want me understand why different things happen. So the course was excellent. Like I said, it was 40 hours, it was 5 days, and it was full days. And, you know, it was very beneficial to myself and the other members of the police department. Whoever's gone to the training has gotten something out of it and has been satisfied. And it's given them some useful tools to bring back to the police department and to the community. And I think with that, if anyone has any questions, I'd love to answer them.
What I'm going to also do, Chief Callahan, is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to put the CIT training page up that you had sent me for people to take a look at, so that people can take a look at, you know, different type of training. If this helps you at all, go along with what you mentioned, the training resources that were available. There's different PowerPoints. This is the main website. You were so gracious to send this along to me. There's Autism and Law Enforcement Education Coalition handouts, autism and police officers. There's different PowerPoints that they did. It's all different trainings, as you can see. I'm just going to scroll down it quickly. But if anybody wants this link, we can we'll put it right into the notes.
Thank you. I would like it.
Yeah, so anybody will
You figured that.
be able to go to it. But it looks like it's a pretty good training. We had a meeting last week with different Commission on Disabilities, and this was an area of topic. It's been an area of topic with some people in the city, so it's perfect timing that I reached out to Chief Callahan so we could see what is being done, so people do know in the city that, you know, that first responders, especially that the police department has been going through the training and is going through this training, which is great. I'm not sure if there's anything that you wanted me to highlight on this, Chief, or just scroll through it.
You can scroll through it. I mean, there's a lot of material here.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's just, there's a lot of material, but it helps us understand how to deal with some of these problems. We never had this training before. I've been a police officer for over 30 years, and this is something that's new in the last decade. And if we had it sooner, I think it would have helped us out quite a bit. But
right.
I mean, listen, I'm more than satisfied that we have it now. Our goal, Ralph, is to get the whole police department trained.
Yeah,
and
right now,
close to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You mentioned to me that you have an astounding amount of percentage of the police force that's gone through the training already, which is great.
And I'll be honest, the thing that slowed us down was COVID. They stopped the classes. We couldn't have any of the training.
Right.
So, and a lot of it's grant funded. We receive money, you know, to help us replace the officers. So when they're not in work, they're in the training. We get some, you know, funding to backfill so we can replace them when they're at their training.
Right.
So it's a great program.
Right. Any commission members have any questions or concerns?
I do. I have a thought and a question and a thought. Will this training be available at any point in the future to other departments such as the fire department, school department, or are they already doing this? I'm just thinking that in terms of the response out in the community, it's wonderful that the police department is getting this training because I think that it is, as you said, it was overdue. Very much so. I am CIT trained from another venue. So I've gone through a similar program, but I'm just thinking, you know, now as we're entering, especially with the nice weather coming, What would you, so my thought is it going to be available to other departments, or is that department by department? That's the question. And the thought, what would you suggest to, folks that are walking along the beach or in the evening or playing, or, if they're out in the park, whatever, and they see something that just doesn't look right or seem right? What is your first suggestion? Is that to call the police and say, hey, listen, I see something that doesn't look quite right? Is that what we're going with right now?
Pauline, absolutely. Because the
Okay.
community, we're here to serve the community. The community deserves service. But who do we need to help us? We need the community. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people out, especially when the weather gets warm, and you see things and you observe things. You know what
Right.
goes on in your neighborhood, and you may see something that doesn't look right that we wouldn't know about. And so I encourage people to contact the police if they see something that somebody may be in distress, somebody may be in trouble, or you see something that just doesn't look right in your neighborhood.
Mhm.
And I say it often. I'd rather have folks call the police 10 times when we come to your neighborhood and it doesn't turn out to be anything than the one time you
Right.
don't call the police and it turns out it was something fairly serious, but you were afraid to call or you didn't want to bother us.
Mhm.
We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And, we try to do our best to get to every call, and especially things that are
Right.
serious.
Yeah,
and
having been in the schools and having,
Yeah.
I'm always out in the community as well as in my own neighborhood. I live over by the beach.
Yeah.
You see a whole host of different things. So what's your feeling about training, or maybe not doing the whole entire training, but doing spot training for different divisions? Would that be something that might be in the future for Revere, or?
I think I can answer that too. And I think it's all gonna come down to each department applying for the grants to do the training.
Mhm. Right.
Because it is grant funded, and each department that would want to go through the training, because it is voluntary, each department would have to apply for funding because, it does cost the
Mhm.
money. And, then they, like the police department took the initiative to do the training, go for the grants and do the training.
Right. And I just see that when you were scrolling through, Ralph, it's so comprehensive. Like there were
Yes, it is.
definitely things that kind of, popped out saying, gee, this would be good for, for people who are either working in the schools or in whatever capacity, or volunteering in a school, or someone that is working at an establishment down on the beach or over on Broadway, for just these different venues. So that's why I was asking is, it's more of a thought than a request, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Pauline, this was mainly designed for law enforcement, for the police. And I absolutely think it's probably a good idea for all the first responders to be trained in this. People in the schools, anyone who has interaction with people of the public, people in the public should have some type of training like this to be able to understand what's going on and maybe how to deal with certain situations. But this program has been designed for the police and kind of tailored towards us. But I'm sure we can craft,
Right.
or another program can be crafted that would assist those other folks as well. Like I know the fire department does copious amounts of training.
Right.
So they're very, very well trained, especially here in the city of Revere.
Mhm.
They spend a ton of time training. So, and these things are kind of, it seems like a lot of this is being indoctrinated to, like in the different training academies. The police academies now are doing a condensed version of this, but they are teaching the new police officers CIT training and introducing them to it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's great that they're doing that. So they're getting it right at the academy. They're getting it, having their eyes open to it and some basic training to it before they're even becoming, onto a force.
Yes. And, the days of arresting everybody and arresting our ways out of problems are gone. And, we have to do a better job with the public. And I know we've done that here, especially in Revere. We have a good police department. We do a lot of training. And we have a lot of good officers here that really care. So that makes a difference. And most cities are like that. So we're just very fortunate here in the city of Revere.
Well, that's good. I mean, you guys are on it. I mean, I wish I would see other places I can think of on the state level. They really need to. I mean, I've seen some things, working for the state and behaviors that you witness that just, people don't know how to handle themselves. And sometimes it's just people that get out of control regardless, but it's also seeing the mental illness out of control and people not doing anything about it. You see people on the streets who they say I'm dangerous, but they don't put them away. We let them all out, and it's something's got to be done because it's getting dangerous. It's not fair to everybody, and it's not fair to them. Some people can't even take care of themselves, and I feel bad for them, unfortunately.
Well, Jason, unfortunately, I think we're in difficult, challenging times, especially after COVID. I think that's really affected people or their mental health more than it's ever been affected before. And with COVID, unfortunately, we had a significant rise in domestic violence calls, almost 50%, dramatically. A rise in addiction issues and people using drugs and overdoses, and the mental health calls in general. And I think it all correlates with one another. That awful word, COVID, and it's kind of changed the dynamics of everything for all of us. So we have to adapt and deal with it, learn how to cope with it and how to deal with these problems in a little better manner. And, back to what you were saying, Jason, I just think that, the healthcare industry or the healthcare is taxed max. I feel for the poor people, the doctors, the nurses, and all the other support staff. They really got put through the grinder during COVID. They didn't get any days off. They had to work double shifts, 7 days a week, double shifts. Same thing, police, fire, any type of public safety. We were in work every single day.
It takes its toll, and I agree with you. But mental health has been going down. I mean, when they opened the hospitals and let everybody out, that didn't solve our problem either, because people are allowed to not take medication. And the concern I have with that is when you see them and it's not addressing the issue. And if they're not going to force it, then they need to protect people from themselves and others as a whole. And they're only doing that in short spurts now. They're not really, it's unfortunate to see that. I had a relative that was mentally ill their entire life, but I've seen both ends of the spectrum. And if you don't have family that can step in and help with some of that, unfortunately, you're going to see a rise even more of that, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And then it falls on your doorsteps, unfortunately, which is not really fair when it should be mental health community stepping to the plate and saying to insurance, no, this person is a danger to others. And they're so afraid of insurance. I'm going to be honest with you. Insurance dictates almost everything. I don't care whether you're talking about the hospital or rehab or anything else. It dictates everything under the sun. So, and then it falls on your steps, which is not.
It puts the first responders at risk more than they need to be.
Exactly.
I'll be honest too. We're thinking outside the box. We have I didn't even get into this yet. We have a behavioral health unit. We were one of 5 communities that got funding to create a behavioral health unit where we would get a social worker, caseworker, a case management person to oversee some of these, high call volumes or high utilizers or people that had mental health issues. And when the police initially go there, they would identify the problem. And then we have folks that can come and do the follow-up. We kind of have we're up and running now, and it's still in its infancy, but it's doing extremely well. And like Jason, you mentioned about folks not taking their medication and they may be a threat to themselves or their family. We've had some instances where that behavioral health unit was able to go there, assist the people, maybe section the person and navigate them through the problems and get them to take their medication.
Wow.
And it's been huge because, like I said, we have a licensed social worker that they co-respond with the police and they can kind of look at some of these problems and identify them, and we can figure out how we're going to deal with the problem.
Right.
We don't always solve it the first time, but with some of the people, we've had to put like a concerted effort into it, but it's had huge success. So, and they're working with some of the homeless people that have mental health issues, and we're gaining some ground with some of those folks, and we know what type of assistance to get them. And we're fortunate because we have, there's a gentleman who works at Mass General, Dr. Bunker. He comes out and helps us.
Oh,
And
nice.
he'll help us with some of these people that have like legitimate mental health issues, or say they don't have like a significant mental health issue, but they have a lot of physical issues that they don't have the ability to care for themselves or care for their body or their injuries. Dr. Bunker will help us navigate to get them in the emergency room and get them the medical treatment they need. And if it's it's a mental health issue, he'll assist us and help with sectioning someone and get them in the hospital so they can be evaluated and they can be assessed, and we can give them the help that they need.
Hi,
That's pretty
this is Ali Vargas. I have two questions. One, how many offices do you have currently in Rivera? Because Rivera is pretty big. And two, do you guys work with like social workers and other mental health people with the police officers that are trained with these new skills you guys were speaking about?
Yes. Well, listen, we have about 105 police officers right now. We have several in the police academy. We're always on the move. Things are always moving here. It's always fluid where we have a turnover. And we're always hiring. And, right now we're kind of in a phase where we're hiring some people. And it's a little challenging to hire police officers now in this current day and age, but we're moving forward and we're doing that. And we do work with social workers, like I said, with that behavioral health unit, Ellie, that we have a social worker that comes. We're in the process of hiring someone else to help us. So we have a lot of people that we work with and a lot of resources. And we do work with North Suffolk Mental Health. They've opened a clinic in East Boston, and they give us priority. If we need to refer someone over there or take someone over there, they'll help us. So we're having a good community partnership. And, they're a good collaborative partner that
I'm
we
glad
have.
to hear that. And also, do you guys like maybe have like a, I don't know, like a emotional animal, maybe that would like help with like people that are in distress? I don't know. That's just an idea.
Well, I'll be honest, we're just in the process of getting one for the schools. The school department gave us the funding to get like a support dog to take to the schools. So we're in the process of doing that. It may take a little time because the dog's young and has to be trained. But, we talked about getting another support dog down the road. Just we're trying to bring back the numbers in the police department. So we're working on that, Ellie. Those are good ideas, and it seems successful in other police departments. And we're going to try to mirror that and do that here as well. Because like I said,
And if you're ever looking for volunteers, you could get my email. I would be involved. I have a lot of free time. I like to help local stuff.
Okay. Absolutely.
Anyone else from the commission have any other questions or concerns? I know I'll have one question, and I know the answer, but I just want it to be put out there that
Okay.
because I want the chief to make sure that people do know, we do have officers that speak other languages, but when we don't, you can explain the services that you do have available to you when they have to go on a call for somebody that does speak another language.
Yes. Listen, I'll be honest. We have a pretty diverse police department now. It's changing. We have a lot of officers that speak Spanish. We have officers that speak Bosnian, Serbian, Vietnamese, Cambodian, Portuguese. We have an older gentleman who speaks Italian. And that's helpful for some of the older Italian residents that that like to communicate that way. So he'll go and assist people. So we're very fortunate. And we also have some language services that we can use. We can call a number on the phone and they'll help us translate. But even better than that with technology, some of the officers tell me they'll use Google Translate on their phone and it can get them enough to kind of level the playing field so they can figure out what the problem is and they can communicate with folks.
Right.
So we're very, very fortunate here. We have officers that are Mexican, Guatemalan, El Salvadorian, Puerto Rican. So, and they speak all the dialects. It's huge. We're very, 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 very lucky. Very
Yeah.
fortunate. We have some
That's one
officers in
thing.
Colombia.
Yeah, that's one thing with the Revere Police Force. They are, and I know that in the past, and sometimes if there is an issue, that you do communicate, even though you're a Revere Police Force, you do communicate, and sometimes need to reach out to other communities that have other police on duty that speak another language. If you needed somebody on site or in person, and you do reach out to other police departments for that too. A lot of people don't know that.
Ralph, absolutely. We've reached out to other departments when we need the help, and vice versa. Another police department needs the help, they'll call us and we see if we can work it out.
Yep.
So
A lot of people don't know that, so I wanted that to be known, that there's a lot of cooperation between departments, especially when it comes to language barriers and things of that.
yes. Yep. We'll assist one another because we're here to serve the community. We're here to serve the public.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there somebody that was somebody on force or somebody in the academy that was ASL, American Sign Language, or am I mistaken on that?
You know what? I don't know. I don't have any firsthand knowledge of that. We
Okay.
don't have anyone that does sign language. I could be mistaken. We had some officers years back that took some basic classes,
Yeah.
but I don't know currently.
Okay. All right.
Might
Anyone
be
else?
a database available.
Yeah. Anyone else have any other questions for the chief? Well, I wanted to thank you, Chief, for your time. This was very, very helpful and very informative.
Okay. Well, Ralph, I hope
Yes,
I
thank
gave
you
you folks
so
enough
much.
information. I didn't want to flood you with it, but
No,
just to
perfect.
give you a basic thing. And that link that we have to that website,
Mhm.
if you could circulate that to people, that would be
Yep.
excellent.
Yeah,
So they can
that
look
goes
at some
in
of the
meeting
stuff.
notes. Yeah, that will go right in the meeting notes, and that's why I put it up on the screen, so it was right on the meeting too.
Okay.
So that's why I put it there. But yeah, it will be right in the meeting notes.
Well, folks, listen, thank you very much for having me on tonight. And it's
As
an honor
always,
to be
my
here.
pleasure.
And myself and Ralph go back probably 10 years. And it's always a pleasure. I see him.
More than 10 years. More than 10 years.
Yeah.
When
Been
I
a
was
long time.
senior in high school, close to 40.
Oh, yeah. You know what, Ralph? You're right. I
Yeah.
forgot about the past history.
Yeah.
Just
It doesn't
time
matter.
flies by. But
Yeah.
whatever I can do for you, Ralph, it's always a pleasure to help you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
folks.
Have a great night.
All right, thank
You
you
too.
so
Have a
much.
great evening. Thank you
Thank
very much.
Yes,
Thank you.
just
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go out of order because Asma has to leave a little bit early. So I'm just gonna have her speak for a few minutes. It's nothing on the agenda. It was gonna be like a commission member's late item because I don't want Asma to have to stay on too long. So Asma, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I have to leave early today, but I wanted to give a quick brief about Ramadan. So this year, Ramadan started on March 23rd, where we fast for 30 days from the sunrise to sunset. Only people who are in good health are required to fast. So people who are sick, old, pregnant, and children don't have to fast. This is the time for us to practice self-discipline and get closer with God and gather with families. During the day, we practice different acts of worship like praying, giving charity, and helping others. Then when the sun set, families prepare a big meal. This is what I will do now, like the dinner, while appreciating what we have. So fasting helps us understanding and appreciating the food we have. It's a very important month for us. So yeah, and I wanted just to announce that on April 14, I'm hosting our second annual iftar dinner at the senior center to share about the Ramadan traditions, food, culture, and music. But unfortunately, the tickets were sold out quickly this year. So yeah, thank you so much, and see you next month.
Thank you, Asma.
Thank
You
you.
have a
Thank
good
you,
night. Thank you for
Asma.
coming to the meeting for as much
Thank
time as you
you.
could.
Thank you.
Thank-
Bye.
Okay. Back to the regular order of business. We're gonna go to item number 3, was updates, next steps from our March 14th meeting. Any updates from Pauline regarding calendar for future monthly guest speakers? Pauline, I just wanted to let you know that I spoke to Charlie DeFrida today. He's gonna be reaching out to you, and I believe
Oh, okay.
he should be able to make that the May meeting. So he should be responding to you. I spoke to him today and he told me he got an
Got to
email.
email him. Oh, not,
You're breaking
yeah,
up a
there's a
little bit.
phone number for that department.
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
want to go
because,
through.
yeah, you have,
So excellent.
yeah. So I talked to him today, and if you don't hear from him within the next couple of days, reach out to me and I'll tell him to email you to confirm that date. We do have
Okay, great.
confirmation. We have somebody already on the schedule for June, correct?
Yes, Mike and Josa from Parks and Recreation. And I'm hoping that works out between the tourism and recreation to kind of bring us into the summer months to see what's available, brewing, what we can look forward to, what people that are visiting our city can find, and things such as that. So I'm hoping that those two work out together. So that would be excellent.
Okay, perfect.
And then are we not meeting in July or not meeting?
We're not gonna meet, yeah, we're not gonna meet in July as always. We usually don't meet in
Okay.
July.
That's what I thought. I didn't want to schedule it ahead.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Next, is, not sure, if there's any follow-up information regarding those therapy dog agencies, but that was great news regarding that the police department with the therapy dog. So that was really good to hear. So Robert dropped out for a minute. So here he comes, he's back in. So I'm not sure if
Ralph, do you know?
it broke off. All I got,
Oh no, she's glitching again.
Pauline, what was that?
Do you know? See if do you know if the therapy dog or support dog, what dog that he was speaking about? There was a therapy dog at high school today, which I was unaware of. I've been trying to track down where this dog came from and, to get some further information because I don't want to reinvent something that's already been done. Is that the
No,
same dog that he's speaking
no,
of? Is there something?
no, because they don't have, he mentioned they're still waiting for the dog is still being trained. Yeah, Chief Callahan
Sounds
said that,
like they're training like a young puppy or something.
yeah, they're still training a young puppy, so this could have been something totally different. I would maybe reach out to Dr. Galucci to find out.
Well, it was yeah, it was a high school. They had it in the cafeteria lunches. I guess quotes took part in giving little scratches, whatever dog they said. I'm not sure the dog's name, either Goji or something similar to that. And the chief mentioned that they were training a puppy, and I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know if it was done independently of the schools or if someone, I have no idea. I wish I had known. I would have gone to the high school and picked a few brains because I'm not having very much luck with getting people to return emails and phone calls. So
Yeah,
I'm still on the hunt, but maybe I can catch up with the chief and find out about this dog that they have, this puppy that's coming on board
yeah.
and backtrack it that way.
But I would try and
Might
find
be a
this.
thought.
This one that came to the high school could be something totally independent. It is what I would say. I would say it is probably something totally independent. So the best avenue to find out about that would be Dr. Galucci.
Okay. I
Yeah.
will, I'll email him, or actually I can stop in. I have to go to the school tomorrow. But
Yeah, I could
thank you.
ask my daughter,
I
but my
do know
daughter,
is
my
also
daughter
had
don't
their
come
puppy
until
up there.
8:30 now. So my daughter's a
I know.
Yeah, she's been there till 8:30, at least 8:30 every night now.
No, that's okay. She's doing a good thing.
Yeah.
At least you know where she is and what she's doing,
So anybody that wants to see the first drama production in 38s in the Heights is this Wednesday night, tomorrow night, and Thursday night. It's going to be a great performance in the auditorium at the high school. There's still few tickets available for Thursday night. The next item we had on here is the draft letter regarding ordinance change for increasing handicap violation fines. I know we just had the original draft, but I'm sorry to say that we're gonna probably have to just table this one because of the long agenda for tonight. Whether we had the chief on it, so I'm just gonna table that one. I didn't type that out, so I have just the written one.
okay.
What I can try and do is find I scanned it, and I could probably email everyone a copy of that draft to take a look at. So I'll be able to do that. I'm going to move on to item number 4 is CPAC April and May event, and I'm going to turn it over to Robert Brown. We didn't know what was happening in March or April. So Robert, if you could enlighten us if anything happened in March and what's happening in April and May. I know last time we seen you 2 meetings ago that you guys were going to possibly be talking about autism walk and things like that.
So I guess there was no communication between the city and figuring out, because the walk was supposed to be at Suffolk Downs, and so it seems like there hasn't been. We tried reaching out and trying to figure out who the necessary resources were to collaborate with that and figure out who to talk with. So there are no scheduled walk right now. We're trying to figure out what the Park and Recreation is doing, if anything. But as of right now, our next meeting is May 18th, which is, and it's going to be an election meeting for anybody who would want to join the team.
Okay. So they didn't have anything. So there was nothing in March and nothing in the month of April, correct?
Yeah, March we had a meeting we had Miss Pino from the state. She just talked. It was a Zoom meeting, and we just talked about all the things interacting with the classroom and about teachers working with the students and in regards to that.
Okay. All right. So your next meeting is May 18th, but it's an elections meeting.
Well, it's a regular meeting too, but it's also if anybody wants to join.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Okay. Thank you. Item number 5 is CODIS, the Commission on Disabilities Alliance monthly Zoom meeting on April 5th. Myself and Ellie were at that meeting. There were a few discussions. One of the city's commission members brought up COD chair duties, roles, and responsibilities in her town, which was pretty interesting to hear what the chair does in different cities and towns. There's not much to elaborate on that. They have different members on the commission doing trying to do different things. So they just spoke on that. Item number 2 that they spoke about. I had asked to start a conversation regarding to see if anyone had any knowledge about programs regarding de-escalation and emergency calls. And the city of Boston mentioned they have a program called the BEST team, and as part of their safety response team. They also mentioned they work with Boston Medical Center as part of this program. And it actually worked out great that I had Police Chief Callahan here to talk about the CIT program that the Revere Police Department is involved in. I don't know if Ellie, if you had anything to mention on the first 2 items. Did I miss anything? Were you kind of anything to come across what the chair of other commissions do compared to what I do, or knowledge of what I do? Not sure if your knowledge of what I do. Does it, am I doing the right thing, or is there things that I could do or do, or?
I know about like mental stress because I've like get that bad as well. I know there's like a 488 number too for like anyone that has any like suicidal thoughts or need help or talk to other people. There's the other ones too. I need to look it up, but yeah, that one, the BEST team, is one of the best ones out there.
Yeah, that's what I found out. I did a little research on looking at it. So you can go right to the commission, the boston.gov website, and you can look up for the BEST program, and it describes it a little bit. It's a pretty good program too that they have, but they work with Boston Medical Center as part of that program. One other item was discussed is the disability commission member from Newburyport discussed a local business owner who's planning to rehab a building to open a new restaurant, but wants to have a second floor and not put in an elevator. This would need a variance from the AEB, and the commission is highly against it. If what the discussion was, if you're going to put something on a second floor and it's going to be used by the public as a restaurant, an elevator would need to be put in. So, and of course, this was Newburyport, and like the commission member stated, the restaurant owner was saying it's going to be the exact same layout as the first floor dining area, the second floor, but the commission member says, no, it actually isn't, because on your second floor, you have great water views. So it's totally different, but even if it didn't have great water views, it's not accessible to people with disabilities, people in a wheelchair. So they're highly against them getting a variance from the Architectural Access Board, because, they would need an elevator in order to put a dining room on the second floor of that restaurant that they're redoing.
Ralph, can I ask a question on that, just out of curiosity?
Mm-hmm.
Not unless you would know off the top of your head, but I agree with you 100% that there 100% needs to be an elevator put in. But is there, I guess, the only word I could think of is like a loophole, but not in, of course, a negative way. But if that was the case where the owner said that it was identical, would they need to, and the loophole being, can they set up a dedicated handicap area?
Well, what they're going to try and do as a loophole is saying it's going to be identical, but in actuality, it's not going to be identical because of the water views.
Oh no, that was clear. I get mine's. Yeah. I guess just a general question, but where I guess for the sake of it, using the analogy of like a parking space, where these dedicated area is required to only be used for people with disabilities.
Yeah, no, because it's a first floor dining area and a second floor dining area. The first floor dining area is accessible for anybody, but in order for them to, they couldn't say, well, the first floor is only for people like that are handicap accessible or people with disabilities. They can't do that.
Okay.
So they wouldn't be able to do that. But the loophole that they're going to try and say is everything is going to be the exact from the first floor dining area and second floor dining area, would entail, they could have the same carpeting, the same table, the same bar area, same bathrooms, but what the commission on disabilities and the ADA coordinator in the city of town, along with the planning department, said that they're all against it. It's not, because it's second floor, there's water views, and you're discriminating against people with disabilities that don't have access to that.
Look, Ralph, I'd want to know, first of all, no offense, but please understand when I say this, that person is an idiot. Because why would you want to do that?
Right.
Yeah, but why would you want to do that? What is your purpose in doing that? I know I went to a wedding, and the wedding I went to, the place that I went to, that my cousin had it, they had a one of those elevators that wasn't built into the wall, but it was one of those ones that lifts people up to the next level so that people could participate. I'm not understanding the logic in that. And shame on anyone that would even consider the thought of doing this or allowing it. That frightens me to think you've got people still that are discriminatory or hateful, that this is what we're dealing with in 2023, that's not, I don't understand. I mean, although I should say, I went to the eye doctor yesterday and Mario was with me. When I went, there was no ADA accessibility. In other words, when I went, the staff, you know how normally you would hit a button and it would open the door? They don't have that. That the staff person had to hold the door for the other person who was wheeling me into.
Believe it or not,
Yeah, there wasn't any.
they don't have to have, ADA does not, I've already looked at